Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, as I always say, here I am, founder and owner of the syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. We're proud to be the media partner for the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. And during the shows and the show this evening, you will hear a couple of Omega workshops that you'll be able to take advantage of putting DREAM in as the code and receive 20% off, courtesy of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. So I'm so excited that they are back in the swing of things after the pandemic. If you're tuning in for the first time, we are a global internet radio station with all the bells and whistles for listening no matter where you live, what country, whether you're in the car, whether you're in the home, online, or asking Alexa on the mobile apps, everything that is out there, we have it. Well, as you know, the Love by Intuition show is all about going within, healing what's there, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical. It's really embracing ourselves, self-discovery, all those good things. And you might hear things that might not resonate with you today, but you could listen a month from now and it all clicks together for you. So I have invited Miss Angela back.
Thank you, Deborah.
Because she is a fountain of wisdom, and she has had so many amazing experiences through God, with God, miracles that have happened for her and the devastation that she's experienced, losing her children. They were stolen by the father, kidnapped. I want to invite you to the interview that we did just a couple of weeks ago, part one, as one could say. So just go on the Love by Intuition page and you can see the archives in a number of ways and listen at your leisure, because I think this today's interview will all tie in nicely. So I invite you to that. And so I have Angela Passidomo Trafford. She is an internationally known healer, spiritual teacher, workshop leader. She's an author of 2 books, The Heroic Path, One Woman's Journey from Cancer to Self-Healing. And the other one is Remembering the Language of God, The Forgotten Path. She has been on all kinds of news through the years. She found Bernie in this lifetime and another lifetime, Dr. Bernie Siegel, and part of her healing.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, she ended up having cancer, breast cancer, 4 times. And through his book and many other miracles, The Love, Medicine, and Miracles, the book that everyone still talks about and remembers. But this is how she got to know who she was and embraced life and started to self-heal and self-love. So without further ado, welcome to the show, dear Angela.
Thank you so much, Deborah, and you are so terrific and one of the most kind and empathetic people I have ever met. So I'm blessed to know you, Deborah.
Well, I'm getting little goosebumps. I call them God tingles, and thank you for that. Because, and back to you, I mean, it's always so good to hear that, you know, we might be making a difference, you know, through our own journey and messages. So one of the things that we ended up talking at the end of the show was what does it mean to love yourself? And the common denominator, I think, between you and I, and probably 80% of the human race out there, is that we are searching many times on the outside, looking for love, when all we need to do is find the love inside. And that, from talking before, loving yourself was one of the key pieces that you have worked on this whole journey. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, I with all the unfortunate experiences I had, I found that that love within me, and this started a long time ago, around 1985, the first time I had cancer, and I was just in such despair, and I was very, very ill, and then, as you said, I had left my abusive husband and moved down to Florida with my children, and then my ex-husband came and kidnapped my children, took them back to Canada where I had lived before, and I wound up finding out on the same morning that I had lost the custody of my children and that I had a reoccurrence of cancer. And that was the moment, as they say, the blow that none can parry. And I just fell down on my knees and I asked God to help me. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I always loved people. I was always helping. And I kind of heard a voice tell me, but you haven't been kind to yourself. And so that surrender was the beginning. And after that, when I went to the doctor to have him examine me and prep me for treatment, he wanted to take another mammogram of the cancer. And so he took the other mammogram, and then he came back and asked me for another mammogram. Anyway, this happened 8 times, and at the end of the 8th mammogram, he came in and he grasped my hands and he told me the cancer had disappeared. And so that was the start of the miracles of my life. And then several years later, 3.5 years later, I did reacquire the custody of my children because I was put on a path of miracles. And once you start that surrender to God's will and admit that you don't have the answers, through prayer, it was just as if my feet got set on a path. And I discovered Bernie Siegel's book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and I was sort of lifted to a higher level of consciousness. And Bernie's book was, when I read that book and I turned the pages, it was as if this is all the things I had deeply believed all my life, and that I could relate to, and of course then I wrote to Bernie, and then we got together and we began doing workshops, and he became a wonderful friend. So he was just a blessing in my life. So that's the way it started, and I really feel, I was looking at this whole journey this afternoon and thinking what I was going to share, and I really think I was in a state of grace at that time because I wanted to help people, and I opened up my own practice. It's called Self-Healing down here in Naples, Florida, and I just began. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to help people. And I also had this healing energy, this very, very hot healing energy coming through my body and through my hands. And so I had been put on a path of a healer, and I began helping people and volunteering at the hospital and going into the cancer ward. And I began to talk to people, and talking with the people really resonated with my own experience. And I realized that cancer was indeed a disease of hopelessness. And so I wanted to turn that around into love and healing. And I was able to help a lot of people. And, of course, it comes right back to you. And all the people that I worked with taught me so much about life and gave the love back. Many of them loved me back. So it was a wondrous experience. And then I wrote my books, and, more experiences happened. And the thing about it is, once I decided to help people and volunteer at the hospital and open up my practice, just one thing happened after another. People called me, magazines called me from all over. It wasn't as if I had to try and get out there. It all just happened. And so I really believe we all have a path that is meant to be. And I'm sure you know about this, Deborah, with all the wonderful work that you're doing. And once you set your feet on that path, you just keep going, keep on keeping on.
Right. Now, once you were on your knees and you surrendered, and then you felt strongly that you were on the path of going in the direction of, getting your kids back and all these miracles that were presented, giving you signs, was it from there on that you felt like you would never give up, even though there may be difficulties and challenges along the way? Did it shift your belief system that you would just never give up?
Yes, just walking the path and the things that started happening to me. As I look back, it was meant to be that I begin to help people, that I reached out and gave love and compassion and healing to people. And then as I was on that path, I met people that were able to help me find the right attorney in Canada to help me get my children back. And just one thing, and of course, I still had to face life and with courage and overcome my fears. And as I did that, it was just like one wonderful miracle after another. And I began to trust God and to try and stay in tune with the divine will of God in my life, because I knew then and I know now that is the way to have inner peace and to learn how to love yourself and to know what choices to make in life, because we are given the opportunity to make so many choices, and often these are very crucial choices. We don't know what to do, but if we learn how to love ourselves, develop a relationship of love within ourselves, and then you can learn how to love and be in good relationship with others. So it all starts within ourselves. And
right, so what did you actually, like back at the beginning when you were, when you had years of listening to your husbands or partners and different people, and you didn't speak up for yourself. And in essence, like in the book, you speak about this yearning for someone to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
So being in that space and then having faith and knowing that you're on the right path, what are some of the other things that you did for the listeners? Like, we all talk about loving ourselves just as we are, but what else did you do? Did you, in the self-care or the self-discovery, to build yourself to this strong, confident, loving woman?
Well, I had to face life. And it began in the hospital back in 1985 when I decided, I knew at that time that the abuse that I was undergoing in my marriage was killing me. And to stay in that relationship was killing me. I just knew it. And I looked in the mirror and decided that I was going to have to divorce my husband, and also face life. And I had a huge lump in my breast, which coincided with the denial I was in my life. It was a 5 3/4 centimeters lump in my breast. So I was very, very ill. And I began in the hospital. I mean, right off the bat, the doctor told me they were going to do a mastectomy. And I was 37. I didn't want a mastectomy. And so at the same time, I started to realize that all my life I had been listening to other people. And I started to listen to my own self. And I regretted listening to other people, because now I know, people give a lot of advice, but a lot of it is advice they would never take themselves. So being in that crucial state and being very ill, I began to pray and go down to the fountain in the hospital, and I decided I didn't want a mastectomy. And there was a song that was playing on my Walkman at the time, and it was called the Rational Song. And the words of it went something like, there are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep, for such a simple man, could you please tell me who I am? And the song sort of was saying that we listen to our rational mind instead of going deeper within ourselves to make these crucial choices. And so that's what I was determined to do. And just with that song and my prayers, I decided not to have a mastectomy, that I would just want the lump removed. And then I had to face confrontations with my surgeon, with the nurses on the floor. The social worker got involved. And yet, as I stood up for what I wanted and what I believed, everything fell into place, and my surgeon became on my side and drew a picture of the surgery he was going to do and made sure that it would look good. And so it was like my feelings. I was expressing my feelings. And I was afraid back then. I was afraid. I wasn't used to it. And as I did, I would be so afraid. And then I would see it would work out. And sharing my feelings and expressing my own inner self started to work for me. And I did have the surgery, and it went very well. I was very ill. The cancer had spread to my lymph nodes. I think I had 24 lymph nodes that were cancerous. And they were very much afraid for me. And but I knew that I was not going to die. I just knew it. And I just knew I had to just keep going. And that is what I did, and that started the transformation of my life. I did go through treatments at that time, and was convinced to do it. And then, left Canada, took my children, and moved down to Florida, where I began a new life. And I didn't want anyone to ever know I had cancer, but God had other plans for me. So that became part of the pathway of my life, a big part of the pathway of my life.
Right. With listening to you and your story, in essence, and I think this is really powerful, is because you started listening to yourself and what your thoughts were and what your feelings were, you actually was able to step up for yourself, speak for yourself, and then by doing that, little by little, you yourself taught yourself, in essence, how to speak up, because now you were seeing the outcome, and it was a positive outcome. So, I mean, that in itself is powerful, knowing that now you tried it, you found it worked, and now it gave you more power to do it again and build on that. And that's really loving yourself. It's teaching you.
That's the beginning.
how to love yourself. Well, we're up on a break already, Angela. Everyone out there, go to her site. It's passidoma.love / there isn't any .com. Passidoma is PASSID as in dog, OMO.love. Angela also does healing sessions over the phone, medicine card readings, client drawings, all kinds of things. And her number, you can call her directly after the show, is 239-238-1819. And this is a live show, so anyone that would like to call in, if something has moved you or you have a comment or a question, Bob is in the house, and our toll-free number is 833-220-1200. We'll be back in a moment.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing Spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowdfunded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Experience meditations intended to guide you deeper into the core of your being at Awakening Meditations, a weekend workshop with Rick Weinman. Rick has been a vehicle for accelerating spiritual evolution for almost 20 years, utilizing the divine energy and consciousness within the Vortex Healing lineage. Join him to create a space for true transformation to enter your life. Mention discount code DREAM for 20% off when you register for Rick Weinman's Awakening Meditations Workshop, July 30th to August 1st at Omega in Rhinebeck, New York. Learn more at eomega.org.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back, and we're visiting for the second time with Angela Passidomo Trafford, who is an author, healer, spiritual teacher, and everything that you could imagine. One of the things that I wanted
You're right
to...
about that.
I wanted to visit a couple of the, there's so many miracles that happen in your books, and we did talk about a number of them in the first show, but we didn't talk about the cardinal. And what really honed in on that for me was that we are all one life force with nature, God, everything is energy, the chair we sit on, everything. Yes. And so when we experience that from a bird looking eye to eye, it brings you to a point, because I've experienced that, where you feel as though if you had to leave the earth now, it would be okay. Could you share a little bit about the cardinal connection?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was when I got my children back, and I have 3 sons, and so I had to handle, loving my sons, doing my practice. At the time, I did a big group as well, and I had a lot of healing to do within myself. And I was driving, and I saw this cardinal, and it got hit, and I stopped my car, and there was a long line of cars behind me. Everybody was honking the horn at me, and I just got out, and I picked the wounded cardinal up in my hands and brought her back to my house, and made a little nest for her, and it was a female. And as she started to come out of being in shock, she opened her eye, and I just looked right into her eyes, and these eyes were so lit with feeling, more feeling than I had probably even seen in human beings. And so this injured cardinal, I made a connection with this cardinal, and nurtured her back to health, and finally was able to free her, and she got well and flew away. And I realized that it was sort of a symbol of my own healing within myself. And I started to realize and think to myself, what would this mean? And then I thought cardinal, and then I thought of cardinal virtue, and the cardinal virtue, love, faith. And so to me, it was God's way of showing me that I was healing and that I was on the right path, and I just needed to continue on and have faith. And yes, and I did write a piece about that called Cardinal Virtue. And I never forgot. Even now as I'm speaking, I can still see the depth of the light of that look in the cardinal's eye. And so I have learned that nature, to me, nature is part of God. And many of the experiences that I've had of affirmation of my soul and affirmation of my choices, I go out and take a walk in nature and see what I find, and then I interpret it. So it's like having a very close relationship with this beautiful nature that we've been given, this beautiful planet, and being able to find the answers if we only have the innocence and the faith that it takes to interpret the signs of nature. And I remember doing a workshop, and I asked everybody in the workshop to write down on a piece of paper something that they were struggling with, and then go out and take a walk in nature and see what they find. and how they interpreted it. And everybody was very excited about it, and amazing things came out of that. And I remember one lady there who was a therapist, and she was just burnt out being a therapist. And she had found these seed pods on the sidewalk, and the seed pods had dried up. And to her, this meant that not every action that you take needs to produce. And so you can sit back and have enjoyment in your life, and you don't have to constantly be looking to produce or, you can relax into life and surrender. And that meant a lot to her. And that was her own feeling and her own interpretation. But I have done that ever since 1985. I go into nature, I pray, and I ask God to help me. And then you have to keep your eyes open to see what's coming your way, because often when we are filled with problems to solve, we're up in our heads and we're thinking and thinking and thinking. And so I have learned then to calm my mind and perhaps go into prayer or meditation and write my journal, look at my dreams. Dreams are very, very important as well to give you the symbolism. That's why I call it the language of God. It's symbolism to us. We're trying to reach God, and we're on this earth in our human form, and yet we want to connect with God and God's will in our life, because that's when things start to really go well for us, and we find the love that we need in our life, and we find the answer to the choices that we're trying to make that are so meaningful to us.
Right. I believe that it's so important for each of us to have our own personal relationship with God, Source, Creator, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
It's there, and we're part of that life force. And I think it's so important to have our own relationship in our own way. And once you have that, and then you cultivate it, and it starts to expand, and then you see, as you have on your path, that all these magical things are placed on the path for you. Since it's years later, and I know that you've experienced some horrendous things, are you able to see them as a gift, in a sense?
Oh, yes. It takes a long time, though, especially when you're attached in your thinking, and you might be attached to people or persons that are no longer serving you in your life. And so that's another part, too, of loving yourself, is taking a look at not only your relationship to your own self and cultivating, just as if it was somebody that you loved, and look at yourself in that way and get to know yourself, and then look around you and see what you're experiencing in your relationships with other people. Because often we are trapped in relationships and we're not even aware of it. And sometimes, especially with narcissism, these people are draining us of our energy, and it leads to illness, because we need our energy, and we just have so much of it. We need it to feel happy and joyful in our lives, and we also need it for our healing system to be able to combat the various illnesses that we're faced with. So that's a journey, too, a big journey.
That's right. That's right.
Having the courage to do that.
Right. You mentioned courage a couple of times, and it is true. You have, sometimes people are stuck in a situation for decades because the fear of the unknown, or the fear of the difficulty, or trying to figure out how it would work, especially a single mom. And that can bring someone to believe, well, I'm just stuck here until the kids get older.
Yes.
So it does take courage. And once you start, when you want to make a change or a shift, as you know, Angela, once we start, then there's messages, again, along the way to help us along the road to get to where we need to. But you have to put the intention, you have to place the intention out there and really, be at the point where you're on your knees, you're surrendering, and you're ready to take those steps. You can't allow your ego to talk yourself out of it.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned ego, because so many people have asked me, what's the difference between ego, being on an ego trip, and loving yourself? Well, there's a huge difference. Ego is ego, and you're up in your head, and you're lacking humility and patience and the other virtues that it takes to love yourself and to look within. And also, I have to stress how important your relationships are. I wrote in Remembering the Language of God about a very passionate relationship I was involved in with a man.
A festival. I remember that well. And you used the term in the last show, a festival.
Yes. Well, anyway, that relationship was such a dynamic relationship, and taught me so much, and it was so wonderful while it lasted. But then it started to fade, and it started to be destructive, and it became a relationship where I knew I had to let go, and I would, and then this man would pursue me or call me, and I would give in. So it happened over years until I really asked God, and this is an actual event that happened. I went out on my porch. It was a sunny day, and I knew I had to end this. I had to. God was guiding me to do it, and I just didn't have the strength to do it. And I went out on my porch, and it was a screened-in porch, sunny day, and I said, God, show me the way. Do I need to leave this relationship? And out of the blue, a strike of lightning came right down about 10 feet from where I sat on a sunny day, and I could see this bluish electric lightning, and a bolt of lightning came down. And so I really knew this I have to do, and I have to end this. And I did, and then on my way home in the car, the whole sky was black, and there was a huge rainbow over the sky. And to me, it just spoke right to me that this was something that I must do. It was crucial for my own self, my own path, my own purpose of life. And so that actually is what gave me the courage to end the relationship.
Yeah, not only were you attracted to the person, but that passion, and that ecstasy, it is hard to turn your back on that. Because it's just because. Well,
certainly is.
There's so many little vignettes of wisdom in what you're saying, and people can apply that to their own experience, because I find through the years there are so many women that will stay in toxic relationships out of fear, out of being alone, out of not having that passion and that ecstasy. There's so many things, but you have to have that courage to gather the strength to leave, because you deserve it. No one deserves to be manipulated and played with and abused. And it may not be physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse, which is really a tough one, because that usually ends up being stored in your body, and that's one of the reasons we find ourselves with illness.
Exactly. Very well put. And
thank you. See, I'm learning too.
well,
we are up on
and I'm learning
Angela.
from you as well. Deborah, also, relationships can become an addiction. And
That's
so,
right.
Especially back and forth. And it becomes an addiction. And so then you're dealing with having to heal yourself of an addiction. So that's another part of why people stay and why it is so hard. And why sometimes it takes, all of a sudden you become seriously ill. And a crisis of some sort, whether it be illness or finances or anything that could happen in life. And then you know that you have to make a change. So then you have to figure out how to do it. And I always start with prayer.
Right, and that's the key is to get on your knees again. I've been on my knees a number of times, but when you're on your knees and you're in that surrender and you're asking, for guidance, it is there. It is always there. It's even there to help you get through, the devastation of losing someone or what to do next with your children. Well, we are up on a break, and everyone stay with us. Don't go away. We have one more segment to share with you, and we're going to find out, what Angela is doing today and how she's feeling and a number of other things. Stay with us.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Join world-renowned tarot card readers at Omega Institute this July for Masters of the Tarot, Finding Meaning in the Cards. Mary Kay Greer, Rachel Pollack, and other professional tarot readers share proven methods to give effective readings that transform lives, yours as well as your clients'. To receive 20% off, mention discount code DREAM when you register for Masters of the Tarot at Omega in Rhinebeck, New York, July 23rd to 25th. Learn more at eomega.org.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And welcome back. Again, I'd like to give out Angela's website. It's passidomo.love.com. It's Passidoma, P as in play, A-S-S-I, D as in dog, O-M-O.love. That is the website. And then you can call Angela for healing sessions after the show and beyond. Her number is 239-238-1819. She does all kinds of different card readings, healing sessions, everything and anything that you are in need of. So give her a call, 239-238-1819. So first I wanted to ask you, Angela, how are the boys, and do they remember the difficulty of being away from you and then being angry from what they experienced with their father once they were back with you?
A lot of time has passed, and I have to say, they had a wonderful life coming back to be with me. And but a lot happened, and I can't really, it would take a long time to delve into it, but a lot happened in my own life. I had a very bad experience with a very malignant, I would say a malignant narcissist that came into my life, and I really was shattered from that experience, and went through years, and by this time my children were older, and they all helped me then. I just really never expected that, and they all came in and helped me to the next step of my life. And while those years were happening, I would call it a dark night of the soul, because I want people to know, life happens. And there's so much to learn, particularly about the people that you let into your world. It is so important to be in touch with your body so that you can know the signals that show you that, no, this is not a good relationship to let into your life. But as I was in this dark night of the soul, and my children then turned around and became heroes in my own life, I remember I was walking to the beach, and I was very despondent. I just couldn't figure out my way out of it. And it just went on and on and on. And I said to God, what happened to my heroic path? And God said, you're still on it. And I remember understanding that. And I was like, well, this is all part of my path. This is the darkness that is going to teach me something. And it took a while, but I learned from that experience to keep away from narcissistic people and to honor myself in my relationships, and to know that sometimes you can't fix everybody, that people have to want to heal and have to want to change in order to get on their path and begin healing themselves. It's an act of will, of your own will, and you become one with God's will, and you get on your real path of life. So
it's a choice. We can't, only we ourselves can make that choice and make that shift. No one can make us. No one knows what we're thinking. The only one that knows what's in our minds and our thoughts are ourselves. So we have to make that choice. And again, it all comes back, I believe, into fear of the unknown, or fear of how to do it. And so we're stuck in our stuff. And being stuck in our stuff doesn't feel good. And especially, as you have found out, with devastating news of your body having some serious illness, then you have to make a choice. So, but it's interesting and it's refreshing to hear that the boys stepped up for you. And that's what love does. That's what, unconditional love. And so I'm sure that they are in gratitude for all that you have done for them, and it comes full circle.
Well, they have, it's this way, they have gratitude for me saving them, and I have gratitude for them saving me. And so now it's all about love, just love. And you love each other, and that's why you're interacting, that's why you stay, and you have a loving family. So it's all about love. Exactly. And I think the important thing is to start and say, what is love? What is love? And to explore that. And to me, I have a definition of love. Love is the non-judgmental awareness of our feelings. So the feelings of the heart. And as you know, we're capable of any feeling, whether positive or negative, jealousy, envy, all the other negative feelings. And so as you see these feelings erupt in your own self, and you can just be aware and not judge yourself, they sort of come to the surface and they bubble up, and you could stay in that divine love that is within your own heart, within your own self.
That's right. So where are you today? Are you're doing your healing services and things of that sort? What are do you still have dreams of what you'd like to do? Or do you feel completely at peace and you have no desires to fly to Hawaii for 2 weeks? I mean, what are you feeling today?
No, I don't have any desire right now to go on that kind of an adventure. I've been doing a lot of writing, and I wrote another book. It's a memoir, and so I'm trying to get a publisher for this book, my memoir. It's called I Am the Sea. And then I have another book about my beach walks in nature and all the adventures that happen to me simply by taking a walk on the beach each day. Amazing things happen to me, and I learned so much from nature and from the creatures on the beach and from my fellow man on the beach. So yes, I've been trying to finish some of my books and then get my books published. And I have many, many children's stories too that I have written and would tell my children, when they were young, and I would tell them stories and make up stories. So I've always done that. And so it's more of writing and then trying to get this message out there right now and enjoying each day. I'm older now, and it's an amazing experience just to sit out in nature with my cat. I have a wonderful cat that I love. Yes. And to be with my cat. And one time I was sitting out there, and it was like I heard this faraway voice calling to me. And I actually turned my head, and I had this visualization of this mountain, and that the voice was my voice. And so it was like a voice calling to me. And it was quite an ecstatic experience. But just coming home to myself. And whatever my purpose is left to me, and a lot of it is in relationships with my children and also the people that I meet, and trying to share the love and some of the wisdom that I have learned to help others. So I'm still on my path.
Well, yes. As long as we are here on the earth, we're on the path.
Yes,
we are. Well, we have come to the close of our show. The time went by so quickly.
It did. It was so much fun, Deborah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Angela. We're kindred spirits, and I just love your energy. Yes.
And I love your energy. I must say, you are one of the kindest people I have ever known.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You are as well. And we learn that through adversity and through our own experiences. It humbles us, and then we become in gratitude for just the breath that we're breathing. And
yes.
And anything that crops up, we can now say, if there's a technical glitch, first thing I say, okay, what am I going to learn today? Instead of being, so.
Yes, exactly. And if things happen that are painful, to allow the pain and to know that you will come out of it, and just allow your feelings to be.
Yes, and that's a very good point. We are here to feel the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, the choices that we need to make, all of that. That's why we're here, to get back to love through all these experiences. So
Amen.
With that said, amen. So that said, thank you, Angela. We'll be in touch, and I'm sure we'll come back to you sometime in the future. Everyone, stay in touch with Angela. Utilize her ability, the gifts that she has to help you heal, and stay in touch, because her books are going to come out, and you need to get these 2 books right away. So with that said, until the next time we come together, everyone, pass the show around, listen more than once, because you're going to reap something that will help you find joy in your life now. So until the next time we come together, au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.